Hi everyone, this video is a part of my Korea University's coding tutorials. Hi everyone, today we'll be talking about loops starting off with the while loop and how we can use them in our programs. Loops give us the ability to greatly increase the power and possibility of our programs. Let's take a look together. Similar to if statements, loops influence the flow of our program. Usually, our program will run from the top of the file to the bottom. However, by using loops and conditions, we're able to direct the path our program takes. This is called control flow. Loops are very useful for a number of different reasons. Firstly, as we have mentioned, they allow us to direct our program's flow. Secondly, this allows us to reduce the amount of repeated code in our program, which allows us to save time and effort on writing and changing the code contained within the loop. Okay, let's take a look at the structure of while loop. While loop structure. While loops start with a Boolean expression similar to the if statements we have seen before. The basic idea of the while loop is that we loop through the true branch code while that Boolean expression evaluates to true. When the Boolean expression evaluates to false, we then exit the while loop and move on to the rest of our program. In our example, we have the keyword while, which indicates the start of the loop, and the Boolean expression contained within the bracket. This must be a valid Boolean expression. Next, inside the curly bracket which outline the boundary for our while loop code, we have the loop condition code. This code is only executed while the Boolean expression is true, hence the name while loop. Lastly, after closing the curly bracket of the while loop, we have the rest of our program. This code is only cut off once our Boolean expression evaluates to false. A crucial point about while loops, it's very easy to accidentally make them run forever. This is called an infinite loop, which might sound cool, but it is a big problem for our program. To avoid these infinite loops, we need to ensure that during the looping code, there is a way for us to eventually make the Boolean expressions false. If the Boolean expression never becomes false, we have created an infinite loop. Let's look at a more concrete example of a while loop to really explain the steps. While loop examples. In this example, we have a basic count variable and a while loop. The condition for this while loop is checking if our count variable is less than the value 5. Once count is greater than 5, our loop will stop and the rest of the program will continue. As we have mentioned previously, we need to ensure our loop actually stops at some point. In this example, we need to make sure count eventually increases past the value 5. So stepping through our code here, we have our count variable which starts off with the value 0, then the start of the while loop with the Boolean condition count less than 5, which is checking if the current value of count is less than 5. Next, we have the core looping count, which prints out the word hello and the current value that is stored in the variable count. The last line in the while loop count could be the most important one as it increases the value of count by 1. This is essential because it is moving us towards the Boolean expression becoming false and avoiding an infinite loop. Lastly, after the while loop, we have a friendly print statement saying that we have ended the loop. I know it's a lot to talk through things like while loops and if conditions, but it's important to really understand what is happening at each step of the way so you don't get confused when loops and conditions start becoming more complex as our programs get more complex. Let's go through one more example. Keep in mind that practicing loops and trying to work them into your own program is a great way to learn. In this example, we have two int variables, x and result. X starts off with the value 7, and the result starts off with the value 1. Next, we see the start of the while loop, with the Boolean condition evaluating if x is greater than 0. We know that 7 is greater than 0, so the condition is true and we enter the loop. The first line of the looping code is taking the current value of result, time it by the value of 7, and store that output back in result. So the value of the result starts at 1. We then take the product of 1 multiplied 4, which is 4, and update the result to equal 4. The second line of the while loop takes the current value of x and reduces it by 1. So by the end of our first loop iteration, result is equal to 4 and x is equal to 3. We then repeat the steps until x is no longer greater than 0. The value of result starts at 1, then during the first iteration it becomes 4, then in the second iteration it becomes 12, during the third and final iteration it becomes 24. Here's a table of all the values during the stages of the loop. Remember to note that the Boolean expression must evaluate as false at some point in our program, meaning that for this example, x greater than 0 has to be false, so x must have the value go from 1 to 0. Only at that instance will the loop exit, and the rest of the program will run. That's all we have for this section on while loops. Stay tuned for some exciting looping action coming up. See everyone in the next section.